If your website builds are SEO friendly, but they're still not ranking well or making the sales your clients were hoping for,
being SEO friendly and being SEO optimized are two different things.
this episode explains why. And it probably isn't your fault.
I think web designers and developers need to remember that when someone is asked whether their website is working for them, it's the web designer that gets blamed if the answer is no.
Most clients don't actually ask for SEO friendly, but they do ask, will people find me? And that question carries a lot more weight than it sounds. Because what we as web designers are usually offering, clean structure, good hierarchy, fast loading pages, isn't the SEO the clients are thinking of. Today, I'm joined by Nikki Pilkington, the hands-down queen of SEO. With more than 30 years' experience in the industry, Nikki is not just the go-to SEO person. She also teaches other SEO pros, web designers and copywriters in how to get websites ranking consistently. In this episode, Nikki puts words to a distinction that has caused years of confusion, frustration, and misplaced blame.
I think the first thing to say is it's not a web designer's job to know SEO, in the same way as it's not an SEO's job to know web design. But it's good for both of us to know a little bit about each other's work and how things go. What most web designers are doing is producing a website that hopefully is SEO friendly. So, as you say, the images are optimized, the H1, H2, H3 hierarchy is in the right place. No one's using H headers for style. They're using it in a hierarchical basis like it should be. There's a space for a meta title. There's a space for a meta description. You can put alt tags in and things like that. And all of those things make a site SEO friendly. And that's great because there are some web designers that develop sites that don't have those things and they're not SEO friendly. But what that doesn't mean is that a site is SEO optimized. And that's where things fall down. Because being SEO friendly and being SEO optimized are two different things.
This is where expectations quietly harden into disappointment. The site launches, it looks great, everyone's happy. And then nothing happens. No inquiries, no traction. And when clients go looking for answers, the website, not the assumptions behind it, becomes the thing they blame.
When they say to you, is my site SEO friendly? And you say yes, they presume that means they're going to be number one for a recruitment company in Glasgow as soon as you press go on that website. And we all know that's not going to happen. So what most web designers then do is they say, give me 10 keywords. And your client goes, okay, I am a recruitment company. I advertise jobs. I'm looking for job seekers. And they give you 10 keywords and you put them in the meta titles and you put them in the meta descriptions. If you've got a bit of common sense about you, they're okay. They do all right. And then you hand this over to your client and they have their SEO optimized website. But what you forget is that SEO is a huge field. It's huge. We don't start with the keywords the client gives us and we put them in a website. There's a lot of research that goes into it. We need to know the intent of the search. I need to know who is looking for that type of website. Is that website giving that searcher the information that they need? Can I optimize that page for a certain search phrase or not? Are there other search phrases around it? And none of those things are a web designer's job. So as a web designer, you're just giving your client the ability to optimize a site. You can't, I won't say can't, you shouldn't be claiming to optimize a site unless you're doing all the other things that come along with SEO as well, which in the main, most web developers and designers aren't doing. Some do, a lot don't, and it's not a denigration of web designers because it's not their job.
Yeah, and it's interesting what some people think a web designer's job is. And other people will think, oh, well, if it's web design, they should be able to do this and that. And I think that it's about holding really good boundaries as well. I've had a client recently who submitted all the website copy for their website. And they said, oh, and we've submitted the document of keywords that we had done for SEO purposes 7 years ago. We thought you'd find that useful. I'm like, where? How? I'm not writing the copy. This is nothing really to do with me. My job as a web designer is to take the copy and the images and the brand kit that you've given me and create a website out of it, like we say, that is SEO friendly. I think where the market is so competitive, I often hear website designers and developers saying, oh, well, when I do a client's website, I will hook it up to Google Search Console and I'll do some keyword research and I'll do this, that, and the other. And it's like, but then that's not website design. That's website design, website development is taking the brief and making the website out of them. And I think that sometimes when people come to us for websites, and it can be hard because you hear about all the DIY website builders and stuff like that. When people come for websites, they don't realize the intricacies that goes into the building of a website. They just think it's like a one and done situation.
I think they do. And I think the thing that it's just like swings and roundabouts, really. You've got the DIY website systems like Wix and Squarespace and things like that, and to a certain extent, WordPress. But the problem with those is that they give people a lot of leeway and a lot of leeway to get things wrong. So those types of sites aren't going to tell you if you put a H1 heading halfway down a page as the third H1 you've used because you like the size of the text. They're not going to tell you that's wrong. As a web designer, you guys know that. You know those things are wrong. You know about hierarchy. You know about structure. You know much more about how to make a site look good than the person using Wix or whatever. And in the same way as the person using Wix or Squarespace has the ability to optimize a site, those sites are SEO friendly. Your websites that you design are SEO friendly. Again, I think it's an education process. I think that a client that comes to you and says, will it be SEO optimized? And if you say it will be SEO friendly, then that to them, you have said to them, you are going to be number one for your chosen key phrases.
Yes.
And the only thing that you can do with those clients is, I don't know your whole process, but lots of web designers will say, give me 10 keywords or give me the keywords for this page. And they'll put them into the meta titles and they'll write a little meta description. They'll put the content that the client's given them into the page, and they've done everything they should do. As a web designer, that is your job. You've done what you've been told to do. The client will then come back, I think, at times and say, but I'm not number one for recruitment in Glasgow, or I'm not number one for, I don't know, widgets in Brighton or whatever. And the reason that they're not is because they're not SEO experts either. You've basically said, what keywords do you want putting in? They've given you those. They're not experts. You're not an SEO expert. No SEO experts looked at this. There might have been a bit of keyword research done somewhere down the line. And what they've got is a website that has all the SEO fundamentals in it, but not in the right way. And then someone like me comes along and says to them, oh, I see you haven't optimized your website. And that's where it all falls down, because they think they've optimized the website.
One of the hardest ideas for clients to accept is also one of the simplest. Visibility isn't something you install once. It's ongoing and it's maintenance. And selling SEO, or even websites, as a one-and-done solution sets everyone up for the same disappointment, just later.
If I optimize a website today and it's number one for all of its search phrases, let's say, it's not going to be number one for all of its search phrases if I do nothing and leave it for 6 months, because someone else is going to come along and optimize their site, or a new company will come along, or a competitor will come along, or something will happen. Google will do an update and suddenly they won't be number one anymore. And SEO is always going to be an ongoing thing. And I think that the mistake that web designers and web developers make is selling it as a one-off thing. They sell it as your site is optimized. Here you go.
When budgets get tight, corners get cut, usually where the impact is hardest to see up front. The copywriting, the strategy, the intent. And what feels like saving money early on often just ends up as more costs further down the line.
I think SEO, web design in general, but SEO has been an education process for the whole 30 years I've been doing it. I don't know how many times I have said it's an education process in calls, articles, podcasts, whatever, over 30 years. It's been a lot. And I'm still saying it. And you think people would be bloody well educated by now, let's be honest. But they're not. And this is the thing that, like you say, they've spent a big chunk of money on a website. And, you know, they've probably had to think about it and save up. And if they've paid for branding as well. That's a big chunk of money. And everything is sold towards this end goal. And the end goal is when your website launches, it's going to look amazing and it's going to do really well for your business. And then someone comes along and goes, have you thought about SEO? And they haven't thought about it, because why would they? Why would the managing director of a coaching company think about SEO? That's not his job. Why would the owner of a boutique gallery think about SEO? As far as they're concerned, that's their web designer's job. That's like all locked in there with web design. A big part of the problem is the web designers that don't understand that SEO is a different thing. They willfully misunderstand that it's a separate thing. And so they will say to their clients, yes, we'll SEO the website. Yes, the website will be optimized. Yes, the website will be fully available to be ranked in Google. And all of those things mean different things. Yes, the website is SEO friendly. That doesn't mean it's optimized. And when your client says that to you, when your client says, is this website going to be optimized? The knee-jerk reaction is to say yes, because it's going to pass the page speed insight tests. It's going to say it's 100% on accessibility, 100% on SEO, hopefully 100% on speed and all of that. And as far as you're concerned, it is SEO friendly. But the education process comes in telling your clients what SEO friendly means and what search engine optimized means. And until web designers can understand that and web developers can understand that and put that out there, then clients are still going to keep misunderstanding it. And again, it's that education process. It's getting it out on podcasts and things like this, and articles and blogs, and in general conversation of, just because you have a website doesn't mean you automatically are going to be found on Google or AI search or whatever. Because in the same way as if someone came to me and said, redesign my website, I couldn't do it. And you and I know I designed a page and you pulled it to pieces, rightfully so. You pulled it to pieces in so many ways that I hadn't even thought of, because that's not my job. That's not what I do. And it hadn't even occurred to me that I need to leave space and this needs to have this color and that doesn't occur to me, because that's not my job. And it's the same thing that you could produce a website that is perfectly SEO friendly and it has keywords in the meta title and it has a nice clickable description and it has the hierarchy of the H1s, and you may even have done a really, really good job of an internal linking structure and topic clusters and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to look at it and say, but that's not going to work. And this is why. And what happens with web designers, I think, is that if they tell their clients that a site's optimized, they say, yeah, your site's optimized, give me some keywords. They put those keywords in, the client goes away, the client comes to me and says, my site's been optimized. And I go, yeah, it hasn't. And then we all look bad, all of us. The web designer looks bad because they've told the client it's optimized and it's not. And the client looks bad because they feel a bit stupid because they've believed that and they don't know who to trust either. And I look bad because it looks like I'm going, yeah, web developers are shit, which I'm not saying, by the way. And everybody looks bad in that situation. Whereas the more that you can educate clients or potential clients in your sales process to say, look, these are the things you need. And in the same way as you'd say, we'd advise you to get your copy written professionally. We'd advise you not to design your own logo in Canva. We'd advise you to, I don't know, whatever other things you would advise people to do. You might advise people to talk to a UX specialist or your personal UX like consultation or whatever. And
we just stop hearing
in that same process,
I won an award for my UX work, so I wouldn't be sending them to other people.
As I said it, I thought, no, she is a UX person.
It was the first out of the 3 awards I won. The first one was for user experience. So I won't be sending them elsewhere, but there's a moment in almost every project where someone says, I can do that as well. And sometimes that's true. But often it's how clear professional boundaries start to blur and how quality drops.
There's the branding and the logo and the graphics. And then there's the web design. And then there's the UX, which we all know you're amazing at. And then there's the SEO and the copywriting and they're all different parts of something. And, it's really nice to get someone who can do all of those things, but don't you want an expert in each of those things?
I was going to
'Cause
say,
I
I
would.
consider it to be like a jack of all trades when someone says, oh, I can do the whole lot for you. I can do the brand and I can
I
do
mean,
this and I can do that.
yeah. I mean, I don't want the guy who mows my lawn to tell me he can fix my radiator.
This is the moment everything comes into focus. Because a website that looks great but doesn't work doesn't just disappoint clients, it damages trust. And when someone asks, has your website helped your business? The answer rarely lands where it should.
You don't want your clients, when someone says to them, oh, how do you feel about your website? Oh, I love it. It's absolutely amazing. It looks brilliant. It's never brought me any business.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want, because you're selling a website not just to look good. And I know some people just want a shop front, and I get that. And they just want to be able to send people from their LinkedIn profile or from DMs or from social media. They don't care about Google. They should, but they don't, and that's fine. But when someone says to you, have you had inquiries from your website? And you say no, then that makes your web designer look bad.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it's not the web design that's wrong, it's the SEO, or it's the fundamentals in the site from an SEO point of view that are meaning it's not being ranked, it's not being found, or the wrong traffic's coming in and things like that. And these are all things that your SEO person is going to look at. Is it the right traffic? Is the person coming to the website seeing what they expect to see? Are you being ranked for things that really you're not serving the intent of that search? Are you being ranked for things that is just bringing in people that want freebies? I think that not having an SEO on board, or web designers fighting with SEOs, this happens a lot. Anything that is where your web designer is fighting with your SEO, or your web designer doesn't want to bring an SEO on board, I think web designers and developers need to remember that when someone is asked whether their website is working for them, it's the web designer that gets blamed if the answer is no.
Not all SEO is smoke and mirrors, but good SEO is rarely fast, tidy, or packaged as a one-off. Knowing what questions to ask and which answers should worry you makes all the difference.
I think the easiest thing is to their process. Ask them how they would do this. How would they work with you? And ask them how they would work with you on a one-off basis and on an ongoing basis for a client. And any SEO that bites your hand off at a one-off process, I would say you discard them straight away, because they're just looking for lots of little one-off jobs. And those aren't necessarily going to help your clients if they don't discuss that with you, if they don't discuss how that would work out. But anybody who their process is just old school, right? We find some keywords, we find out how many people search for them, we will put them in various places, we'll submit you to some backlink directories, that kind of thing. Old school SEO from 10, 15 years ago. And there's a lot of it around. Those people haven't progressed since 2015 or something. What you're looking for is people that talk about their whole process being about search intent, about the kinds of visitors that a client wants, about the kinds of visitors a client doesn't want. So, one of the first things I say is, right, these are the people that you don't want to come to your website. You don't want people who just want free information and are never going to do anything with it. You don't want other people who are basically your competitors looking at how you write things and things like that. Get people to talk about their processes, ask them for their own results. A lot of people won't be able to give loads of results because they'll have NDAs with clients and things like that. So they can't give away search phrases, and much business has gone through a website and things like that. But have a look for them, the SEO people that you want to use. What are they ranking for? When you do your search for SEO stuff, do you come across their stuff? Yeah. Do you sometimes think, oh, there's an article by Nikki?
Yeah.
She's bloody awesome. Did you use her? Also, just as a caveat on that, and not to cover my own arse at all, because I rank for what I want to rank for, so I'm very happy. SEO is a massively competitive industry. I wouldn't necessarily expect the SEO person that you use to be number one in all the search engines for SEO. They all have their own very specific search phrases that they want to rank for. And I would ask them that and let them prove to you that they've done the work on their own website. Don't let them use the excuse that SEO is a really competitive industry for the fact that they have no rankings at all. Ask them, what do you rank for? What do you rank for that you wanted to rank for? And does it bring you any business? As an example, I rank for SEO and my local village. I'm number one for that every single time. I'm in a bit of a grudge match with another SEO company. I always win, let's be honest. And it's never brought me any business whatsoever, ever. I don't think people in the village near me are actually connected to the internet, to be honest. I'm not sure they're going to be looking for SEO. But I do it because it amuses me and I fight with this other company. But there are other search phrases that I've optimized my website that do bring me business, and my blog posts that bring me business, and my service pages that bring me business. Ask them what they are. And any good SEO will be happy to tell you that.
The thread running through all of this isn't SEO. It's honesty about roles, about limits, and about what actually makes a website work. And the earlier that conversation happens, the fewer people end up disappointed later. I hope this episode has made you feel more confident in which parts of the SEO puzzle belongs to you and what parts should be handed over to a specialist. Handling clients' expectations with confidence is always a win. And I would love to hear your experience of dealing with clients' website expectations. You can send me a message through my website, websitesmadesimple.co.uk. You can use the contact page there, or if you go to the podcast page, you can drop me a voice note on the form there, and I would love to hear from you. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Holly C. Christie. Do get in touch. I always love to hear from you. And until next time, happy designing.